I think initially, I mean, I probably went there a few times, particularly my dad. He was a really big outdoors guy. I can't quite remember that much, to be honest, but I'm assuming he must have taken us down there to start with. I did go a fair bit with my brothers. Then I went loads with my mates, particularly in the lower part where you weren't in the sort of the hospital area. Now, no, essentially a sort of area near the sort of what was the boiler house and things like that. And that area down there, I mean, you could just go off into the sort of bushes and chase each other, and that was great. I'll be honest. I even remember as a very young kid, picking dandelions as well and blowing the bits. Come on, that was great. So. Yeah, he just had so many different. Yeah, it's one of those things. I suppose the way to describe it, ever present. In every iteration of my life, it has something to offer. One which, for me, which is sad, it's no longer there. Not that a nice building in any way, shape, or form, but it's quite odd looking at the boiler house or the. Well, there is no boiler house. It's an empty area. And I think that's a shame because for me, it was one of those things when I came home from living abroad, it'd be one of those sites you'd see the big sort of the chimney and you'd say, right, that's me home then. Because it almost like a homing beacon, or dare I say it, if I'd been in town in my late teens, early 20s, out with my mates, almost like a homing beacon to get you home after you'd been down the pub for a wee while. So I mean, it's funny how the mind creates symbolism in certain things, but I suppose that's human nature, maybe. It's a very sort of restful, a very sort of peaceful place. So, it's that, it is calming, to be honest. It's definitively calming. I mean, I come back saying, when my dad was passing away, where do we go to? It's there. And it must be something about, yeah, it is absolutely something about the place. It is, and it's as I alluded to earlier, but my memory is kind of all wrapped up with, blue skies, which is absolute nonsense, but that's how my memory's constructed it. I suppose it's because I take a lot back to that summer when I was 16 and sitting there thinking, okay, and thinking, right. And it was that sense, I suppose, it gave it's when I want to sort of sit down and think of the future as well. So it was a past, but it gave me a sort of sense of, and I'm going to have a future and it's going to be a decent one and all of this. And yeah, you could argue this convenience cycles right on the doorstep, but I think there's more to it than that. Because what's like, you have little moments in your life and you sit there and think, actually, that's quite an important moment.